So in this session, we are going to discuss about sports journalism, what are the various features, and then how to go about it. The description of various types of games and sports can be found in ancient writings and scriptures. So when you look at the R epics like Mahabharata, Ramayana, or even there are mentions, several mentions in Bible or other religious scriptures as well. Um, the very fact that sports exist and people need to talk about sport and people need to know about sports gave rise to the idea of sports reporting or sports journalism. And there are several instances of different kinds about sports reporting that could be found in foreign lands as well. Roman philosopher and writer Homer in 850 BC wrote about a wrestling match between Odysseus and Ajax in his epic drama Iliad. So those of you are familiar with Iliad or have heard about Iliad uh, have an idea who wrote it, and then in that epic there is a mention about a wrestling match. So the whole written material that existed back in the day also gives us some sort of historical context to see how possibly sports reporting would have started. So that basically what I want to say is there has been a tradition and history of sports culture, both in the Western world as well as here in our country or this part of the world, um, largely since the beginning of the inaugural Olympic Games in ancient Rome. The system that modern newspapers follow to report sporting events and related phenomena is not very old. Okay, so the way that framework, the sports reporting framework or sports journalism framework, created after a lot of experiments and experimentations over a period of time. And when we look back at modern newspaper system, it's not that old when we compare it to, you know, the BC and that sort of a period, the earliest part of Olympic Games. Taking a cue from the British newspapers, Indian newspapers too started giving importance to sports journalism. So over a period of time, sports journalism has taken a new shape in our country as well. Initially, sports news was not given a systematically organized manner in newspapers, but now situation has changed and almost every major Indian newspaper gives ample space to sports news in its publication. And I'm sure a few of you might be, um, sports fan as well. And many a times it's the fans who also tends to develop as enthusiastic readers or viewers of this particular um, genre of journalism. I have myself been a huge sports fan. I played cricket quite seriously for quite a long period of time, and then eventually I started my career with sports journalism. So this is also one of my favorite topics to talk about or discuss. And if you are not somebody who is really keen into sports or somebody who follows the game closely, then it's difficult for you to get into that beat. So over a period of time, what has happened is the scenario of sports journalism has changed, and it has changed all across the world and in India as well. Let's look at what are the objectives. The primary objective of sports journalism is not only to know about the environment of the game of sports, but to present the facts. And presentation of facts become extremely crucial because if you are constantly talking about the rules and regulations and the universe of that particular game, after a certain point of time, that information becomes redundant to everyone who is interested to know more because they already follow the game and many times they do get an opportunity to see the game live, so they know. But then what people is most of the times miss out on is the presentation of the fact, and it's that information that presented in a certain way that makes sports reporting such a demanding as well as an eclectic job. The sports enthusiast's first concern is the statistics related to sport. What has happened in the tournament or what has happened in the match? Who performed, who did not, at what point in the game, the course of the game got changed, because of a particular goal or because of a particular wicket or whatever. I mean, whatever sport related to. So the ingenuity of sports writing depends on easy presentation of facts and statistics, so that even a person with minimum knowledge about the sports in question can understand it without any special effort. And remember, you're writing for people who are interested to know more about the game. Many times they have already seen the game. We have yesterday there was a game that India won. Then why did we still pick up the newspaper and read about it? Because we also want to know um, how it is written or who has written that article in what fashion it has been written and how much of stats and facts have been put together. So this is what makes that particular piece an interesting read. So that is read as elusive literature. And so when you're putting these things together, remember that you're not just presenting facts and statistics. You have to write it in a way where even a layman who just follows the game for the enjoyment of that particular activity should also be able to follow the facts and stats. And that makes it uh, wholesome. Sports journalism cannot be limited to single country. So if you are somebody who follows, like for example, I used to write about cricket and badminton. Okay, these are the two games in which I specialized, and I would write and report about these two games. So if I would say that to my boss or to the news desk that I would only report about Indian cricket and Indian badminton. I'm not going to follow the Indonesian Open or English Open, or I wouldn't follow Asia Cup or ASIS or some other tournament between, let's say, Pakistan and New Zealand or Australia and South Africa, and I would just limit myself to following Indian cricket or Indian badminton. Then what happens is I am limiting my scope as a journalist. And many times, what would happen, there's a possibility that I might be off the desk because I'm not expanding my horizon, I'm not expanding my knowledge base or my information chain that is required to become a successful sports journalist who has diverse understanding across geographies related to a particular sport. Or this has also been done with an interesting perspective because everyone wants to know about the standards of the game. Who is playing? India is playing England. How did England perform in Australia? How did India perform in England when there was a previous series that was going on? Who were the top performers of the game? How was the change in the team? I'm talking in the context of cricket, those who follow, how the current teams, lineup had changed and what are the challenges that are going to forward when we look at the subsequent matches or subsequent tournaments that come up. Who did England drop? Who, whether they are playing with a 5+5+1 combination or they are playing with a 7+3+1 combination. So it depends on those kind of things. A little bit of technical understanding is required, but you always need to look at it because sport is always competitive and sport is always comparative in nature. So unless you develop an interesting perspective about the history of the game, about the contemporary scenario of the game, who is playing whom across the world, what kind of series are happening, simultaneously Indian women's cricket team also is playing. So I can't say that I would only follow men's cricket, I won't follow women's cricket. So those sort of things are very important and that you need to have, a broader understanding of the game or games for that matter, and you should always approach it from an international perspective than localizing the content. Also, simultaneously, you need to know. So I need to know how the domestic thing is playing up, who is getting picked up in IPL because of their domestic ongoing domestic performances in the last two series or last two seasons. Why Prithvi Shaw matters because of the kind of comeback he gave. So those sort of things are become very crucial and very important at the end of the day. If you want to become a good sports journalist, then always keep pen and paper handy so that the thoughts originating in your mind can be put in written words in order to be accessed later at an opportune moment. You will never know. Okay, now you have shifted to a different sort of a base where you have four smartphones which can almost record everything. You can have your audio notes. people carry iPads. So when they go to report, you're almost well ammunited with a lot of devices. Back in the day when I'm talking about 2004, 5, when I was, I was starting out. At that point in time, we didn't have anything. We would just carry a notepad and a pen and go do our interviews. If I'm doing an interview or for a feature story, then it is photographer accompanying alongside. Or many times they would give me the post bureau camera or the news office camera, and then go and take photographs if I happen to know. Since I knew how to take photographs, I would take the office camera and go do that interview myself, take photographs, so on and so forth. So this is the thing, that if you have a notepad and a pen ready many times, there are things that could be an opening line, that could be a closing line, that could you could call you might be thinking about the structure of the story. So it depends on how you are calibrating yourself or your thoughts that are constantly coming to your mind as and when you watch a match, or you interview a person, or you're prepping for an interview, or across several situations. Good sports journalists are known for the meticulous compilation of each and every thought. Okay, so how much of it would finally go into the story is not important. How much you can put together. So it's the compilation that is important. Compilation in the most lucid fashion, backing them up with stats, backing them up with data and facts, and then putting it across so that whoever is reading, that it feels like a literary piece. It doesn't feel like a very crude, rudimentary piece where only the dry facts are noted. The most important thing is that you must keep everything that you have read and collected handy. The information is key in sports journalism. If you want to become a good sports journalist, you need to know things. If you don't know stats, you say that, okay, I suck in history, then possibly that's not the genre of reporting you should pick up. Because sports, like I told you, is very competitive and comparative as well. There's always a comparison that happens. At this point in time, you have Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma being compared. The time when Dhoni was compared with several stalwarts like Lakshman or Sehwag. So, or for that matter, Yuvraj. So those things, how people fared over a period of time, that goes into history. As and when we speak, when matches happen, every match comes up with its own set of data for analysis. So if you have information and you have gathered information readily, then it always brings you different entry points into that story. Okay, so how do you go about that entire process? Let's look at the methods that are usually adopted. First is collection of newspapers and magazine articles. You know, somebody who is interested in sports journalism, the first and the foremost thing that they do is they begin with newspaper cuttings. Right? And this is a very traditional classic way of doing it. We have all done it. Those who are interested to read about a particular sport, to collect information about a particular player or matches or tournaments, and start um, collecting those things. Sports journalism was also, I mean, because I was interested in sports apart from playing it, I was interested in the literature, I was interested in reading them. I would often visit second-hand bookshops and start collecting old um, news magazines where there would be some feature story or important article that was or write-ups that were written about a particular tournament or particular game. So that kind of helps you to uh, do your research, and then you start arranging them according to the topics they deal with, or so this sort of a file management system, or how you prepare your library disposal and try those materials which would eventually come to you for rescue or as for reference when you are doing feature stories and articles. Many times it becomes crucial, and this sort of an exercise is very organic in nature for those people who are interested in the game and sport. a particular sport, they would like to know anything and everything about it. So the more data you have, the more efficient you can become in terms of putting the things together. And timeliness and clarity are two of the most important attributes of any good sport or game-based report. Okay, whether you're writing it on time and whether you have your stories clear enough when you are trying to put it across. Reference materials collected for a news story may also be of immense use in writing any other feature articles. So you can always refer back to those stories and try to uh, develop your story. Comment of experts collected through these cuttings can be used as quotations to substantiate your feature or article as well as to inculcate greater acceptability of it. Many a times that has happened. Who has said what when 1983 World Cup was played and India won against West Indies, or what happened when India won the 2011 World Cup, or when it lost the 2003 final. What did the experts commented about it? What did they speak about? Whether they spoke about players, they speak about speeches, or whether they spoke about the general mood of the team, whatever they had to. So those things, they are expert comments are something that goes back in, allow you to go back in time and see how people, what was people's point of view, perspective, and it can add up to very interesting conversation or dialogue when you're writing a feature article. Second point is quest for ideas in sport. A competent sports journalist should assiduously endeavor to develop his or her observational skills and should keep his or her eyes open for every interesting event or incident that is unusual and unique in any manner. Um, it's something that is applicable to general understanding of how you look at the world of journalism. If you are not observational in nature, if your observation skills are somehow dearings or challenged, then this is not a profession exactly for you. Although better observation skills that you have when you keep your eyes and nose open for every incident and event that occurs across, the oddity or the uniqueness or the novelty factor often takes your story to the next level. And that can come from any source, not just about observing, watching a match. It could be about reading or listening or viewing anything. You can be watching an old interview from which you can get a story idea. You can, you're browsing through your, cutting uh, cutouts, newspaper or magazine cutout files, and then you can find a new idea. You never know when you can find an interesting story. I went into cover. I think went into interview some old sports person to a place, and adjacent to that was a cricket academy. And then after I finished the interview, I went into the academy just to see how young kids were practicing and all. And I happened to just talk to, you know, the person who was managing that academy or club, and that's how I got a story idea that I could do a feature story about the cricket academies in Hyderabad. And in a week's time, I had a published article of 500 words with photographs and everything. Um, that was that was also a Sunday feature, I think. So everybody who subscribed to Times of India across India will be able to read that story. So you never know when your ideas could come in handy and when it could be enriching and how they could prove to be extremely substantial in nature. So no data, no fact, no observation is inferior in nature. Only thing you need to know is how to transform that material according to the demands of the sports page or whatever your newsroom requires at that point in time. Since I had a deal with my boss that I would cover beyond cricket and badminton whenever they would ask me to report or write about some of the story, I'll go on to do that. I don't need bylines and stuff, but for every feature story, Saturday or Sunday feature story that I would do for Times of India, I would require space and I would require, and they agreed. You know, they agreed to do that very gracefully, and that's how I had my publications and the scope and opportunity to meet several sports persons. He or she should try to learn by watching any game or sporting event. So, like I told you, you need to be a sports fan first. Because I played cricket seriously and professionally for quite some time, and I was equally interested in badminton settle as a game. Um, I, Irrespective of whether somebody else is playing or any tournament, I could sit and watch a Australia South Africa Test match series if I'm free for a couple of hours. I don't mind watching the game because you are interested in the game. You're not interested just in your country's game or your state's game and those kind of things. You are interested overall sporting event. So what it does, it not only increases some knowledge but also expands the contours of our mental capacity. Look at um, the event itself and how players are performing. Also allows you to think about how they're playing the game, what kind of strategizing decision making is happening on field. The reason why Dhoni stands out as a captain when he's on the field and as against a Virat or a Rohit is very different. So and each of them have their own uh, strategic abilities as leaders, but how do they execute them on field, especially when being at pressure situations or a high octane match or competitive situation, or um, what would happen if five people get knocked out in a series and there is only one rookie player? What sort of is the strategy for a badminton team which is gone to play China Open or Indonesian Open? So when you are constantly thinking about these things, you are very sensitive towards the thing that you view and listen to. So you are using television, you have access to television. I come from a space of newspapers mostly. I was not too fond of, and apart from the game, I wouldn't follow um, television sports as news as such. I was more gravitated towards the print media because I was also happened to write for a newspaper, so I would read across newspapers and on the web, not so much, but mostly from print. But yeah, for you now, the thing is it's all new media. So you can go across. You want to read a story about a particular sport that happens in UK or US or any part of the Scandinavian world, you can do so as well. What you do while doing it, remember that you are subconsciously consuming a lot of data information, and then you're watching people, you're watching their mannerisms, their behavior. Like I told you, how X person conducts himself or herself on the field matters a lot, and it allows the journalist to actually delve into a certain personality trait and discover that. And every time you write about it, you are writing about an event from a very different perspective. That part, that perspective building exercise also happens for the readers or the viewers whosoever are engaging in those stories. Then think and write, think 100 times before writing anything. If you are not sure about the message you want to convey to your readers, then you will not be able to leave any impact in their hearts and minds, because it is possible that they may not understand what you want to say to them owing to your own confusion. So clarity is the key here. Okay, that's why it is very important that you think, you create a structure for your story and then write. What are the things that I want to say in that 500 words or 200 words or 300 words? Am I doing justice to that particular event? Am I trying to tell it in the most holistic fashion? Therefore, for good and effective writing, it is imperative that you write only when your mind is at peace and you are in a blissful mood. Okay. Easier said than done. You are always uh, chasing time, you're cutting across deadlines. But that's where you also have to prove to work in pressure situations and then deliver stories. So you have to train your mind to work. But yeah, that sort of a piece is important. So we had a great thing in Times of India Hyderabad Bureau. To unwind, we would go upstairs and play table tennis for a while, have some lemon juice and come back and then get back to your writing or story or discussion what we used to do. So it kind of unblocks you for a while because the pressure air or whatever. Then you'll be able to kind of present to the readers clear idea instead of a hodgepodge one. There is no better method to improve your writing skills than self-criticism. And it's something as a writer in general, you must always read back, recheck, do multiple checks and see whether this is working, this particular paragraph is working, it's not working, whether your headline is apt, it is not whatever you're saying, is it conveyed properly? That's how over a period of time you'll develop your skills and become a successful one. Okay, first one, reporting on an ongoing sport event. While reporting live action games, sports journalists should systematically prepare notes in an orderly fashion. Okay, what happened throughout the match? A chronological report. So you have to sit and constantly take notes. So if note making is not exactly an exercise you engage in, I'm talking about note making in a traditional sense of using a pen and paper. But now you have audio notes, whatever you want to do, or so you constantly text. So it depends on how you want to do it. That doesn't matter anymore. What matters is how you put that information together. In sporting event, any sporting event should be viewed with neutrality and without becoming too excited. I mean, you could be excited about the game because your team is winning or the team you are rooting for is winning, which is great. But then at that point in time, the little bit of distance is important because you also have to objectively report about that sporting event. So and you are getting paid to do that work. So at that point in time, that neutrality is important. While writing sports-based report, do not unnecessarily endeavor to show your exquisite grammatical skills or get overly technical. The biggest issue that happens with a lot of rookie journalists or those who are starting out, especially the sports ones, are they try to feed some sort of an ego that they have that I know more than a lot of people. So whatever I know, I must put into it. I know that's not how it works. If you have a great a range of words or what we understand as vocabulary, try to understand what is the appropriate context of using a particular word instead of randomly throwing heavy literary language where the audiences or the readers are going to lose on both context and connect over. So if you're keeping it extremely technical, you are losing out on audience. If you are keeping it extremely literary, you are losing out on readers. If you want to become successful, you have to write in such a language whosoever is reading that should be able to entirely picturize and visualize whatever you want to say. And that is the power of good writing. So majority of the writers who are popular, who are good, write in the most simplest way. So there is no need to make your report very colorful or dramatic, and it's not absolutely necessary in the given context. So if there is a context, India has won the world. There is a matter of celebration. You write about it in a certain language. But the thing is, again, stick to the basic. How do you go about it? Lead or intro, who won, where, when, how. Basically, in your first paragraph, these are the information that you put together. And then in the body or your main description should incorporate information about the star performer, the interval, the weather, how the game changed from one situation to another, or how did the players gather momentum when there was a certain crucial intervention that happened. Other minor details, behavior of the audience, players, those things. I mean, if you read a story, all these kind of things are together. Other details are statistics, substitute players, generally lead comprises some summary of the game. What you do find in the lead or your first paragraph is the basic information, summarizing the game, who won, who was playing whom, and what was the match, and so on and so forth. Then you have scores and then description, which the journalists want to portray or publish, should always be in small sentences. Try to keep it as crisp and brief as possible. For instance, injury to player, strategy employed, or the turning point of the match as described in the report. The other thing, so whoever is reading, if they happen to have missed the match, they should not be missing out on what has happened on the field by just reading that report, and that report leads them or works as a framework for them to visualize whatever would have possibly happened. Soft lift proves to be quite effective in the case of sports-based news. Soft lifts are, again, you are putting those 5 Ws and 1 H, but you are putting it in such a way that somebody who is reading also get drawn towards the body or the other details, the subsequent paragraphs. A sports journalist should practice writing his or her reports, keeping in mind the pressures he has to face on the field, and it's important in meeting the deadlines. Okay, like I told, reiterated as well. So remember that you're always up against, like, the stories that we have done at 12 o'clock in the night, because a match is going on. It's a day and night match and it's getting over at a certain period of time, and you are constantly writing. So broad framework is ready, stats are coming in, you do sort of a fillers. Once you start doing those things, you would realize how interesting it becomes. Initially, yes, there is a pressure situation, and many times people find it extremely cumbersome or hectic. Once you start enjoying it, you realize the importance of deadlines, how much, how, especially in newspapers, and not even so magazines, more newspapers. You're competing against television, radio, and new media to understand how well your packaging is really. For television, yeah, anyway, on-field reporting has been done. So you have the stats and data, you just put together a 2 minute story, and then you are good to go. So that's more or less what I wanted to discuss about sports journalism. I hope this is useful. I'll stop here. If there are questions, I'll do. Thank you.